Turning now to the latest on the coronavirus in Louisiana, we've been watching the trend of decreasing hospitalizations. On Sunday, we saw a slight increase, but today that downward trend resumed, which is good news for reopening businesses. Here is the update that just came down from the Louisiana Department of Health. The state surpassed 40,000 cases of the coronavirus, with a little over 2,600 deaths there. Hospitalizations have dropped by 17. Although the number of patients on ventilators has increased by 2. We expect to hear from Governor John Bel Edwards today about when the state will move into phase 2 of reopening. However, with so many cases in New Orleans initially, Mayor LaToya Cantrell is not expected to move into phase 2 as soon as the rest of the state. Some of the things that would have been allowed to reopen in phase 2 include schools, daycares, and summer camps, as well as bars, but with limited capacity. Restaurants would be allowed to have more seating, but again, we expect Mayor LaToya Cantrell will take a more gradual approach to the reopening process than the governor. You can watch his address here on Channel 4 on our website, as well as our Facebook pages starting at 2:30 this afternoon.